Now, you might be thinking to yourself, Spiro, please, I beg of you. I've had enough of the telecom hacks, okay? Please, no more telecom hacks, please. No more telecom hacks. All right, okay. Okay, I'm going to take a break on the telecom hacks. Please, no more breaches. Please, just no more breaches. I'm done with the breaches. Too bad. Too bad, you're getting more. Over 50% of the top oil and gas companies suffered data breaches in the past 30 days. This was May 20th. A new report reveals that only 10% of top oil and gas firms passed a basic cybersecurity assessment. The rest failed. According to the Cyber News Business Digital Index analysis, 69% of the top oil and gas companies worldwide received a cybersecurity score of D or F, indicating widespread weaknesses. Additionally, over 50% of these companies experienced at least one data breach in the past 30 days. Nearly 7 in 10 oil and gas companies scored D or below. 391 of the 400 world's largest oil and gas companies were evaluated. So they used only publicly available information. They used custom scans, a bit of IoT stuff, domain IP reputation stuff. There was a mixture of things here they did. And 35% of those 391 companies analyzed received an F, the lowest possible rating. 34% scored a D. Only 10% received an A. And here's the chart for you. Average security score, 72 out of 100. But it's the number of people who stayed at the bottom. You have over half of the 400 top oil and gas companies who were D or below. And 72 is the bottom level of D. 94% experienced data breaches. 91% experienced SSL or TLS configuration issues. 80% had their corporate credentials stolen. 74% had poor system hosting practices. 50% were affected by recent data breaches. 48% had email security weaknesses. 32% had general software patching gaps. And 20% had critical unpatched vulnerabilities. And this is the spectrum of F, D, and CBA. Basically might as well be non-existent. It gives you... Doesn't that give you the warm and fuzzies? The warm and fuzzies. So then they continue because it's not over. And they dig into the finer details of some of these statistics. 20% are exposed to critical unpatched flaws. 20% out of 400-ish. Because I don't think it was exactly 400. That is a huge portion of them. That's way too much. It shouldn't be that high, that have a critical unpatched flaw. Email security is still a weakness affecting 48% of organizations, which means that spoofing and phishing and all of that are on the table. And 74% of companies point to, hang on, what's this? And now we're starting to kind of touch on the title of this stream. What's this? 74% of companies point to insecure configurations in the servers or cloud environments that support core business functions. SSL and TLS were identified in 91% of organizations, indicating widespread failures in properly encrypting data submissions. The data also reveals that corporate credentials have been stolen from over 80% of companies, and 38% of domains are vulnerable to email spoofing. 94% of them have had data breaches. 68% of Asia companies reuse breached passwords. So now we jump into a kind of a different topic here. Geographically, security performance varied widely. Asia-based companies had the lowest average score at 65, so they were even worse than the top 400 oil and gas companies. Europe and North America followed closely with average scores of 74. Asia consistently showed the highest level of vulnerability access across most key risk areas. For example, 59% of Asian domains were vulnerable to email spoofing, compared to 35% in North America and 27% in Europe. 68% password reuse in Asia. At least it's kind of low in Europe and North America. So Asia is not without its own issues as well. So there you go. It's kind of some damning evidence about what's going on here. And you would think that one of the things that we should have nailed down in 2025, after what is supposedly the last 10 or 20 years of absolutely incredible leaps and bounds in hardware and programming paradigms, is that we should be able to properly configure an SSL or TLS certificate or properly secure our buckets. However, we can't seem to do that.